So let's talk about Claude AI Pro. It's an absolutely incredible tool, right? But that monthly subscription can be a bit of a stretch. That's why today we're going to explore how you can share an account to split the cost. But, and this is the important part, how to do it the smart and safe way. I'm guessing this sounds familiar. You've seen what Claude Pro can do. You love the bigger context windows, the speedy responses, but that price tag? Yeah, for just one person, it can feel pretty steep. If you're nodding along right now, you are definitely not alone. And that's the exact problem we're going to tackle.
Here's our game plan. We'll start with why Claude Pro is so popular in the first place. Then, we'll get into that tempting idea of just sharing a password. After that, we'll uncover the hidden dangers. And finally, I'll show you a much safer method step by step. Let's do this.
All right, so first things first, what is all the hype about? Why is Claude Pro the tool that so many people, from freelancers to entire teams, are trying to get access to?
You know, the difference between the free version and Pro is, well, it's night and day. The free one is great for playing around, but if you're doing real work, you're going to hit those usage limits pretty fast. With Pro, you get way higher limits, you can feed it much bigger documents, and you get priority access, so it doesn't slow down during peak times. It's a true professional-grade upgrade.
And we're not just talking about hobbyists here. This is for the power users, for teams who need to collaborate, for freelancers and content creators who literally depend on this for their job. For these folks, Pro isn't just a nice-to-have, it's pretty much a necessity. So when you have something this valuable, the next logical thought is, hey, why don't we just split the cost? And that brings us to the most obvious and most tempting solution.
And look, on paper, the benefits are awesome. You immediately slash the cost for everyone involved. You make sure that expensive subscription is getting used to its full potential. And you open the door for people who couldn't afford it on their own to get access. Some people even turn it into a little side hustle. It sounds like a total win-win, right? Doesn't it? Well, not so fast.
This is where that simple plan starts to fall apart. Because just handing out your username and password comes with some pretty serious risks that you might not see coming.
First and foremost, account security. The second you share your password, you've lost control. What if someone changes it and locks you out completely? Or even worse, what if they start digging through your conversation history? That's a massive privacy nightmare waiting to happen.
Number 2, you're probably breaking Anthropic's terms of service. And this isn't just some arbitrary rule. Companies have these for a reason. They monitor for weird login activity. And if they see an account bouncing between different countries or cities in a short amount of time, that's a huge red flag. Your account could get suspended or even banned for good.
And finally, you've got the human element, trust, especially if you're sharing with strangers online. What happens if someone starts using the account for shady stuff? Or what if you're renting access and they file a chargeback on their payment? It can turn into a real mess, real fast. The old password sharing method is just too fragile.
Okay, so that was the bad news. But don't worry, I wouldn't leave you hanging. There is a much, much better way to do this. It all comes down to using the right tools for the job.
And the key to this whole thing is something called an anti-detect browser. Now, that sounds super technical, I know, but the idea is actually pretty simple. Think of it as giving each user their own unique digital disguise. So to Claude servers, it just looks like one single person logging in from the same place every single time. It keeps everything separate and clean.
So how does a tool like DICloak fix all those problems we just talked about? Well, for starters, no one ever sees your password. It's completely hidden. You, as the owner, can block people from installing weird extensions or messing around with developer tools. You're the one in control. You can even automate adding or removing people, which makes managing the whole thing a breeze. Okay, so you get the what and the why. Now let's get into the how. I'm going to walk you through the exact steps to get this set up safely and securely.
It looks like a lot, but it's actually a really straightforward process. First, you get the browser and sign up. Then you create a dedicated profile for your Claude account. Now this part's crucial. You use what's called a static proxy. That just means it creates a fixed digital address, so it always looks like you're logging in from the same spot. You log into Claude just one time inside that profile. Then you lock it down. Disable things like developer tools and extensions. After that, you just create accounts for your friends or team members, set their permissions, and you're done. They log into DICloak, not Claude, and get safe, secure access.
So, let's pull all of this together. What's the big takeaway here? It's really about changing how you think about sharing, moving from a risky shortcut to a smart, well-managed system.
At the end of the day, it really boils down to this. Sharing itself isn't the problem. It's how you share that makes all the difference. When you move past just handing out a password and adopt a secure, managed approach, you make it possible to access these amazing tools in a way that's both smart and affordable.
Now, we have to be really clear about this, and this comes directly from the source material. Officially, Claude AI Pro is designed for one person. Sharing an account could violate their terms. So this guide is for your information, but you've got to share responsibly and understand that you're doing it at your own risk. And that leaves us with one final question to think about. As these AI tools get more and more integrated into our daily work, is this kind of secure, managed sharing going to become the new normal for how teams and small groups get access? It's a really interesting thought about where all this is headed. Thanks for tuning in.